right. Where's our young brothers? Ooh, where's our young brothers? We need some of them young. Sister Walsh is blowing good. We need some of those young lungs for our young brothers that can blow the shofar, like it says in Numbers chapter 10 and verse number 10. He says I'm going to read that real quick. Numbers 10 and 10. Also in the day of your gladness and in your solemn days and in the beginnings of your months, ye shall blow the trumpets over your burnt offerings and over the sacrifices of your peace offerings, that they may be to you for a memorial before your Elohim. I am Yahuwah, your Elohim. So this is what he desires on the beginning of the month. So our next month on the Hebrew calendar begins September 16th. That would be the first day of the seventh month. That's the first day of the seventh month. Actually, September stands for 7, but on the Greco-Roman calendar, they call it the 9th month, but actually the name September means seventh month. So September 16th is the new month, the first day of the new month, which is Feast of Teruah. And we're supposed to blow the trumpets. He says, for I am Yahuwah, your Elohim. I mean, he says it right there. I am Yahuwah, your Elohim. So it is a memorial. It's a memorial before our Abba. And I know there's a lot of things that I will say. And many of you are used to the teaching by now as we go forward, that there's things that we follow in Torah that the Roman religion decides that it's no longer meant to keep, that we don't have to keep that anymore. But that is contrary to what Torah teaches. Torah teaches that we're supposed to keep it throughout our generations. Yahusha did not come to end the feast days. He did not come to end the Sabbath. He did not come to put an end to the commandments. He did not come to put an end to the covenant. He came to renew. That's one thing that those who are called the church fathers, they do not believe that our Messiah came to renew the covenant. They believe that he came and gave a new covenant, which there's no way you cannot prove that. That's just a philosophical approach. It's something that they do philosophically. You know, you have to be careful when people say it's right because I said it's right, or just because I said it is right. Well, that you can't. You ain't got no Torah to stand on. No, I don't need Torah. And some of y'all seen that video clip that went out. And that gentleman that was dressed in Catholic attire, and what he did was he took documents from the Roman Catholic Church, and he was reading documents from that church. He was not a cardinal or something. He was dressed like one, and but he was speaking from authentic documents from the Roman Catholic Church when it comes to the Shabbat and the first day worship. And I know that there's we've got brothers and sisters, we got family, we got friends, we got loved ones, we got people that we rode with for many of years, and we love them. And I don't take my love back that I have for some of my brothers and sisters. You know, I don't. I still got mad love, Yahusha love for them. I have them. I ain't got nothing. I don't dislike none of them. I don't have that in my heart. What's in my heart is a hav, which is love, and I do love them, but I can't follow that teaching that comes from Rome anymore. Now that he has opened my understanding, those who know better, they do better. I can't keep riding when I know that the place you're going and what you're riding with is wrong. I just can't keep doing that. And then I can stand on Torah to prove it. Everything that we teach here at this assembly, everything we teach here, we could stand on Torah. and teach it. And that should give us comfort in our ruach, in our spirits. That should give us comfort when the very action and the work that we're doing is Torah-based. That should be some relief there. If you can look at your life and see that your life is rooted in Torah and is Torah-based, but yet you feel guilty because of the Roman religion, then there's something wrong with your spirit. Really, there's something wrong, because you can prove through your life, through your work, your example, your witness, that it's rooted in Torah, but yet still we've got problems because of the tradition. Now, I've heard it said, and you've heard it say, that we've gone from tradition to revelation. You know, we were really in a wind up and a pitch of tradition, and that's just how it was. So now that I have understanding, my understanding is enlightened. And I don't know, I can't speak for everybody that's here in the room and those who are joining online and those who will pick this up later. We certainly welcome you into our Torah teaching. But I can't speak on your behalf whether your eyes have been enlightened, whether your ears are open, whether you are awakened. I can't attest to that. I know that I am, but I don't have your testimony. And I do know some here following the teaching, because that's what it is. It's the teaching. I mean, and I completely understand that, because when every pastor that I was under all my life, I still have mad love for my first pastor. He's been dead and gone for a long time. I still got mad love for him. There's still sometimes, because my first pastor, Bishop Boyd, was a prayer. He in his prayer, he was like, he was preaching. He had that prayer, and I could still hear his voice sometimes in prayer. And I was just a little kid growing up, so that lets you know the impression that he left on me. When at my age now, and I can still hear, his cadence, his voice, and things like that. That's he really left an impression on me, and I still have love him. But the point I wanted to say was, under every pastor that I had, I didn't want to have a bad report of them. I've had a number of pastors, and I didn't want that pastor to have to give an account for me, and it was a bad report. Oh, that boy, man, he was messed up. He was hard-headed. He wouldn't do nothing. He was just against everything. He sowed discourse. Discord. He sowed discord. He did. He had a evil heart. I would say go left, and he would go right. I would tell him, these are principles that we need to live by. I ain't living by them. That's him. That ain't me. He had no. I don't want that kind of report coming from him. I didn't. The pastors that I sat under, I wanted them to have a good report of me. And that's just how I felt. So there was some things that I did not agree with. I didn't agree with all of the teaching that I sat under. And y'all have heard my testimony here, and I know some might be joined, they might not have heard, but even here, my former he said, I know how you were taught, and we talked about it. And my wife will attest to the fact that we tried to, and we did in our house, the way we raised our children in our house, to follow the teachings of the church. We did. whether we agree with him or not. I don't even agree with that, but that's our pastor. We're going to do it. What I'm trying to say is a lot of times we don't always have the same vision or understanding as our teacher, as our feeder. There's a lot of time, and he tells us in Jeremiah 3:15 that I'm going to give you rahas after my own heart that's going to feed you with knowledge and understanding. But like we've read, these last couple times in the book of Matthew, the 13th chapter, right, where he says they have eyes, but they don't see. I think I'm going to go to that. Matthew chapter 13, and what is it? Let's start with verse number 14, I think. No, let's go up to verse number 11. Well, actually, I'm going to read 10. Sorry, just stay with me. Matthew 13 and 10. And this is why I'm trying to get you guys to understand that this is going to be an individual thing as far as your awakening, your eyes being open and everything. It's an individual thing. You can try to ride off of the skirt of your teacher, your more, your zakim, your raha. You can try to ride off the skirt of them, but eventually you're going to have to be awake in your eyes, your understanding. It's going to have to be a one-on-one thing. You're going to have to know it. It can't be, well, that was just the teaching of the assembly. I just went along with them because that's the teaching of the assembly. That's what's going on in the Roman religion now. You got people that are just going along with it. I don't know anything else. I don't know any better. You know, I come up here, I want to be delivered from the world and everything. I don't know anything else, so I'm just going along with it. But the time comes where you're going to have an accountability, and your eyes are going to have to be open. It's going to be an individual thing. And so in Matthew 13 and 10, and the disciples came and said unto him, why speakest thou unto them in parables? He answered and said unto them, because it is written unto you to know the mysteries of the kingdom of Shamaim, but to them it is not given. And the mysteries of the kingdom of Elohim. Now, in the book of Luke, didn't he say it's of your Father's good pleasure to what? Give you the kingdom. I mean, it is his good pleasure to give you the kingdom. I want to give you the kingdom. Why would he send his son to give his life for us, somebody who knew no sin? Neither was any guile found in his mouth. And he gave his life for us, but then he don't want to give us the kingdom. I don't want to give you folks the kingdom. That's not, no. He wants us to give. He wants us to have the kingdom. He wants us to live in the kingdom of Shamaim, which is divine truth. He wants us to have divine truth. He wants us to live in divine truth, because the kingdom of Elohim, when you talk about the kingdom of Elohim compared to the kingdom of Shamaim, kingdom of Elohim, you're dealing with eternal life, because you're not going to live with him throughout eternity in this present body. We can't do it. You can't go up in the air without an airplane. You can't go from point A to point B without a car, bicycle, train, something, or 2 feet. We used to call it pat and bend. Pat them feet, bend them knees. That's how we get from point A to point B. So our body's not equipped for eternity, so that's why we have to have a different body, different makeup. The kingdom of Elohim, the kingdom of Elohim is eternal. It's going to be eternal kingdom to be lived. So kingdom of Shamaim, but to them it is not given. For whosoever hath, to him shall be given, and he shall have more abundance. But whosoever have not, from him shall be taken away even that he hath. Therefore speak I to them in parables, because they seeing what? See not. And hearing they hear not, neither do they understand. And in them is fulfilled the prophecy of Isaiah, which saith, by hearing ye shall hear and shall not understand, and seeing ye shall see and shall not perceive. For this people's heart is waxed gross, and their ears are dull of hearing. And that is so true today, especially when you look at, and you're trying to tell folks, hey, wake up, y'all. Hey, wait a minute, come on now. There's too much documented proof. I mean, we can prove. The Roman Catholic Church will tell you. I mean, you might not hear it and believe it from me, and a lot of people don't. I mean, some people are just going along. You might not believe me that is saying, but the Roman Catholic Church is telling you. But to some people, that's not good enough. You know, so what do you, they're dull of hearing. You have some people that are dull of hearing. They have eyes, verse number 15, and their eyes they have closed. Notice now, they closed their eyes. I hear him, but I don't believe that. Oh, so you know, and a lot of times we're praying, Abba, Yah, open their eyes, open their understanding. But they've closed their eyes. It says they've closed their eyes, lest at any time they should see with their eyes and hear with their ears and should understand with their heart and should be converted, and I shall heal them. So unless they're awakened, they can see it. If you can see it, if you can hear it, and you can understand it, what's going to happen? You're going to be converted. You're going to be converted. And when my eyes were open, I can see it now. Did it convert me? Yes. I mean, obviously you can see the conversion. You know, it converted me. Notice now, he's not talking to foreigners. He's not talking to anybody outside of Yahshua, because a lot of people will say, well, he ain't talking to the church. Oh, no. He's talking in-house. He's talking in-house to his own people, saying that they've closed their eyes. You've done that. You've closed your ears. You're not understanding intentionally. And what did Shaul say in 1 Corinthians 14:38? What did he say? We're going to come back here, but let's go to 1 Corinthians 14:38. And what does Shaul say? And he ain't talking about Joe Bartender. He ain't talking about him. He ain't talking about Chet the garbage man. You know, Maurice the pimp. He ain't talking about them. No. He's talking about up in here. If you want to be ignorant, we just gonna let you be ignorant then. I mean, if your eyes are closed, if you won't open your eyes, you won't hear with your ears, you're not going to perceive with your heart, then you can't be converted. And so I want to kind of drive this, because you're going to have to see this. You're going to have to see this. You're going to have to hear it. There's a lot of things going on. Some of you might have heard, but I don't know if I shared this with you, but it was in 2016, and my mother was still alive, and I went out to Arizona to visit my mother, and she was in the hospital, and so, but while I was out there, I was, a lot of stuff was going over my mind. I was really heavy. Now, this is back in 2016, so you can kind of chronicleize how everything went, but from that time, because we know when Bishop Soto passed. When did he pass? January 2018 is when he passed. So this was in 2016, and my mother was still alive. My sister passed in 2016. My mother passed in 2017. Then Bishop Soto passed 2018. So, I mean, we had just a string of deaths that was just kind of right. And then, right before the pandemic hit, and then when the pandemic hit. And we just lost some close ones, but just trying to chronicleize this, 2016, and I was out there, and I was talking to someone, and I was telling them, I'm really contemplating. I'm just being vexed in my spirit, because I'm thinking about moving off of first day worship. I want to get off of first day worship and just worship on the Sabbath, like it's done in Torah. He advised against it. He's, oh no, he said I wouldn't. He says I wouldn't do it. He says that's the day we get our biggest offering. And so that landed on me like, they're probably just in it for the money then. I mean, how else do you explain it? You know, you can say, well, traditionally, you know, we just do it traditionally, and then on that day, that's when, you know, we have our largest crowd, and then that's where we get, because more people, more money, more people, more money. And so I can understand that logic. But this was back in 2016, And now you guys didn't know it. You did not know my being vexed in my spirit, keeping me up at night, you didn't know it. I was just wrestling with this. I just try to drop little, you know, little, you know, little clues, little things here and there. That's all I was doing. It wasn't until, when did we finally move from first day worship to the Shabbat? When did we finally do that?
I don't know, but I know you kept teaching on it, and I had said something to Terry. I said, I think he's going to change it.
Yeah. Because in 2016, we started with prayer breakfast. And then somebody says, are we going to have prayer breakfast every Saturday? So I'm going, okay, well, we're going to have, this is Sabbath class on Saturday. And so I introduced it as Sabbath class. Y'all remember now we got to have some historians around here. Y'all ain't taking notes of what's going on I'm asking, what's he talking about? I mean, yeah, so, and I'm saying all this to make a point, but it wasn't until Feast of Tabernacles 2021. Where did we go 2021, Feast of Tabernacles? Kickapoo. We was at Kickapoo, and we was there, and then, I mean, the conviction hit me. I mean, I was dealing with it. I mean, we're talking from 2016 to 2021. You know, you're talking 5 years and then it was just so heavy on me, I just had to do it. I had to break. I just had to break. And I figured you guys were mature enough. You were mature enough in the Ruach and in the teaching that once we made that shift, that you could still stand and still survive. You know, we could still live. We still living in truth, living in Torah. You know, some of us, because we were so conditioned to first day worship that it was difficult. I mean, it was just, you know, when you get into a tradition, your body just does things automatically. I mean, you just automatically go through the motions. And so, man, well, we don't even worship first day of the week anymore. But I mean, because you've done it for so long, and maybe I'm just talking about myself. I don't know, y'all. But for me, I mean, we got into it so long that it was like, man, it really was a change. But my anchor was the fact that we were doing what Torah says. But you know, since 2016, so much has come out. So much has come out, and you would think people will. You know, especially because we're coming down to the end here. And you have people who first day go into the steeple and they know this. They know Torah. They know Shabbat. They know it. But will they break from it? So hearing, but they're dull of hearing. Seeing, but it says they closed their eyes. Abba Yah didn't close their eyes. You better hear it now. It says they closed their eyes. I refuse it. They did it to themselves. And we have to be careful because we'll get trapped in something to where illumination, understanding, revelation comes, but because we're so entrenched in something, we can't break from it. So then you close your eyes to it. You're not going to put that on the feeder, your Raha, your shepherd. You're not going to put it on him. And you can't put it on Torah or the Most High Yah or Yahusha. You can't. The only one you're going to be able to blame in that day is yourself. And so I'm trying to get us to see you can't ride off of my revelation. You can't ride off of my understanding of Torah. You can't ride off of my awake. He says in Romans chapter 13, And verse number 11, he says in Romans 13:11, and that knowing the time, that now it is high time to awake out of what? Sleep, which means you better wake up. Wake up. Wake up. Now listen, there's some people in the Roman religion where they go to into the steeple on Sunday that'll tell you, I'm tired of folks waking up. I don't want to hear this wokeism. Coming from the church now. Coming from the church that says, I don't want to hear no wokeism. I don't want to hear about that. I'm tired of that. Y'all remember, now some of y'all, you got to go back with me now. Go back to the 70s. Huh? What do you mean? What do you mean?
Well, there's awakening to liberal and what's the other? There's all that where they're accepting the lifestyle.
No.
And then there's a woke to who you are as far as Israel.
Yeah.
There's two wokes out there.
Because listen to what the writer is saying, and listen, because it says you got to hear with the Ruach, right? He that hath an ear, let him hear what the Ruach is saying unto the assembly. So what the Ruach is saying, and knowing that it's and knowing the time. So for each generation, you have to know the time. Now, where we're at in this generation, what time do you think it is? Do you think this thing is about ready to wind up? I mean, are we thinking in terms that the time that we're in now, this is a time where you need to be awoke? I'm not talking about, politics, liberalism, or this country, United States of America. I'm not talking about that, because what Shaul's dealing with here in Romans is not dealing with nothing political or anything like that. What he's dealing with is for us, or those who are in the assembly. Those who are in the assembly, he says you have to know the time. What is your time? What is your time? And the way I look at time now, I think we're closer to the gathering of Yasharah and those who are in Yasharah. I think it's just within our reach. We just keep breathing. I think it's within our reach, because when this thing falls, like it says in Revelation, when Mystery Babylon falls, is it going to take a generation for them to fall? Oh no, it's going to happen quick.
Doesn't it say somewhere it talks about an hour?
In an hour or in a day. I mean, it's going to, and what it's saying is it's going to happen quick. We might think it's going to be a long time, because a lot of people, when you follow the market and everything, and the de-dollarization, and BRICS is coming. I don't know if you guys have been following BRICS or anything like that. BRICS is Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa. And they just had their meeting. They just admitted into BRICS, those 5 countries, they admitted six more countries, which is Saudi Arabia, United Arab Emirates, Iran, Egypt, Ethiopia, and Argentina. Those 6 were added into BRICS. Wait a minute. Because I know somebody's saying, did I hear him say Saudi Arabia? Did I hear him say Iran? Did I hear him say United Arab Emirates? What do those all have in common? Egypt? Muslim? But what do they all have in common as far as resources? Oil. Those are your oil producers. Those are your top oil producers, OPEC. So they want to join into BRICS, and they want to trade in a new currency and get off of the dollar. Well, see, a lot of people in our country says, well, that by the time they do that, that's going to be a while. Our market is in good shape. It's not going to collapse. Ain't nothing going to. But according to Torah, when this thing breaks up and falls down, it's going to happen quick. It ain't going to be no generation. It ain't going to be no long drawn out. So when he says, and knowing the time, we have to know what time it is. We have to know what time it is. and that it's high time for us to awake out of sleep. So did Shaul believe in being woke? Yes, he did. When you know what time it is, you better wake up. You better wake up, because he says our salvation is nearer than when we believe. Because I know, in a lot of churches and stuff, and you hear it, they have meetings and all these woke folk. Some of y'all need to go back to sleep. Don't listen to that. Don't listen to that, because people are saying things out there that is against Scripture. It's against Scripture. And a lot of men want to hold on to power. They want to hold on to that power. They want to hold on to people. They want to hold on to power. They want to hold on to money and enterprises. And I mean, that's what they want to do. So for me, I'd rather be right with the Most High than to be right with any man. With any man. I mean, we do have to love our neighbor as we love ourselves. And he even tells us, even in this chapter here, he says, owe no man nothing but to, and he's not talking monetarily. He's talking about you owe somebody love. I owe you love. I owe that to you. And I don't want to leave here with some debts unpaid. How come you didn't love that brother? How come you didn't love that sister? And you got some unpaid debts, and it's time for you to go and get up out of here. That's why he says, don't owe no man nothing but to love them, whatever you can. It even says in Proverbs in the 6th chapter, I think somebody read that today, Proverbs the 6th chapter, but it even tells us in Proverbs, it tells us that when you see somebody that's in need of something and you don't do it, what does he say? He says, Elohim knows now. He knows everything, so you can't go back to Elohim and say, oh, I didn't know he needed anything. Oh, no, you knew. You knew. You just closed your eyes on it. So we're not to owe anybody nothing, but we have to know the time that we're in, and that it is high time to awake out of sleep. Now, this is our scripture here in Romans chapter 15 and verse number 8. Now I say that Yahushua Mashiach was a minister of the circumcision for the truth of Elohim. Pay close attention. Now I say, because those whose ears are dull of hearing, and they've shut their eyes, and they don't understand with their heart, then they can't be converted. Can't be converted. So, to confirm the promises that were made unto the fathers. Notice now, there's more than one promise, and there's more than one father. So when he's talking about fathers here, the first one, you have to go to Abraham. Everything that he promised Abraham has not come to pass. I'm going to say that again. Everything that he promised Abraham has not come to pass. So when we believe in Yahushua Mashiach unto salvation, we have to believe that everything that was written in Torah that he promised to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, those things are going to happen. How sure am I that those things are going to happen? How sure am I? How sure are you that those promises, everything that he made unto Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, all of them, they're going to come to pass? How are you sure of that?
He doesn't lie.
And we read that where? In Numbers 23 and 19, right? Where he says Elohim is a man. Elohim is not a man. Elohim is not a man. Because Yahusha tells us in Yahuchanan chapter 4, what does he say? Elohim is a spirit. Elohim is Ruach. Elohim is Ruach. Elohim is energy. Elohim flows throughout his creation. Elohim feels, King Solomon says, the heaven of heavens cannot contain you. He fills all space and time. He is energy. He is ruach. That's what Elohim is. So he says, Elohim is not a man that he should lie, neither the son of man that he should repent. Hath he said, and shall he not do it? Or hath he spoken, and shall he not what? Make it good. So everything, and that's why when we look at, talking about Abraham, Yishak, and Jacob, everything that he said to them, you can bank on it. I mean, it's better than gold. It's better than silver. It's better than any merchandise. Anything. What is the most important thing to you? I can pose that question. I probably hear, what's the most important thing to you, Marcus? What's the most important thing to you? Your kids? All right. His kid, Marcus said his kids, most important thing to you. Sister Klinger, what's the most important thing to you? Get up and pray. All right. And the most important thing to her is communication with Abba, with Yahushua Mashiach. Sister Gerard, Koti Gerard, what's most important thing? Making it in. Make it in. Got to make it into the kingdom. Got to make it into. What's the most important thing to you, Elder Gerard? Yeah, a clear understanding, revelation, understand it. And in Proverbs it talks a lot about his, and I'll talk about that someday. His companion, Abba Yah's companion. Sister Walsh, a co-teacher. Eternal life. Yeah. Eternal life. Kind of goes with Koti Gerard. Got to make it in. Eternal life. Koti Eston.
Probably just not breaking commandments and to remember scriptures.
Yeah. Being obedient. Understanding Torah, the commandments, being obedient unto them. Obedience is better than what? Sacrifice. All right. Aki Eston. Relationship with the Most High. Mm-hmm. Those are all good. To me, and it kind of goes along with what everybody else is saying, but to me, the most important thing to me is my soul. In the 16th chapter of Matthew, what did Yahusha say? If a man, gains the whole world and then what? What did you accomplish? Nothing. And then he goes on to say, what will a man give in what? Exchange for his soul. And sometimes we give up our soul for silver, gold, money, a bank account, a man, a woman. I mean, we give up our soul for almost anything. And that's what he was saying as far as what you're going to give your soul in exchange for. But, I mean, all these were good coming in here. But for me, and we used to sing that song, right? I can't lose my soul. I can lose mama. I can lose daddy. I can lose houses. I can lose land. I can lose family. But the song goes, and it's not Torah, but the song goes, but I can't lose my soul now. I can't do that. So the most valuable thing that we have is our soul. So what do you have to do? We have to pray. We have to have revelation. We have to have understanding, the desire to make it in, to be obedient unto Torah, to keep his commandment, having a relationship with Abba. I mean, all of that, I do want eternal life, but I'm not going to have eternal life if I lose my soul. I mean, if I give something in exchange for it, Okay. All right. Let me. Okay. Thank you. So the value that we put on that, and so when you look at yourself and how you value that, well then, I'm going to pray more. I'm going to seek an understanding. I'm going to seek a revelation. Because it's important for me to make it in. At the end of the day, and I think everybody here, got to make it in. I've got to make it in. I'm willing to give up the whole world. And I know the pull of the world is so strong on our young people, our sons and our daughters and our grandsons and granddaughters and great-grandchildren. I mean, the pull of the world is so strong on them. And we have to be here, mothers and fathers, grandmothers and grandfathers, we have to be here for our children. Like Marcus says, the most important thing is his daughter. He's got a couple daughters. That's really important to him. And we have to be here, and we have to create that community that will raise up healthy children, like planting the seed in the ground. Some of you, we did some gardening and everything, and you have to make sure the garden is watered. It's got to get the sunshine. You got to keep the weeds out. You're constantly out there. You're working on. I mean, and we have to constantly be there for our children because of the pull and the draw of the world. And our enemy knows that his time is short, because it says that in Revelations, the 12th chapter, he has but a short time. He knows, I ain't got much time. Now, we look at it like, we live to be 100 years. Oh, man, that's a long time. You lived a long time. But in Torah, it says our life is just a vapor of smoke. He says just a vapor of smoke. It just appears for a short time, then it's gone, because Abba lives in eternity. So he can go quiet on you for 2 days. And 2 days could be 2,000 years. He ain't said nothing for 2,000 years. Well, who's doing all the talking? Because we don't understand the time element with Abba. And that's what we got to understand. I mean, and that's why Kepha says, man, a day with him is like 1,000 years. 1,000 years just like 1 day, because they like to tell you he went quiet on Yasharal, and he went quiet for 400 years. Now, that's what the church fathers taught us, because they tell us what's canon, what's canonical. They went through all the scrolls, and they decide what to put in the book. They say this is spiritual. And so the period when he was dealing with the Maccabees, and you had the Feast of Dedication and everything, he says Abba wasn't speaking to them. Well, who are you to make that determination? I mean, we are trusting people that he didn't even call them. He's not dealing with these people, but we give them such reverence. We give them so much reverence that when we take our oath of office in organizations, because I've done it and I've had to repent, we've taken oath of office. You're going to teach this. You're going to say this. And it all comes from the church fathers. It all comes from the church fathers. That's where we get it from. And so we make these oaths and we repeat after them, because they'll even tell you, I've gone to a number of them, and you have too. And repeat after me. You believe in this. You believe in you. Are you going to preach this? Are you going to? And it sounds good, but we don't realize and understand that the foundation of everything that we've sworn to comes from what we call the church fathers, the ones who are the architect of Christianity. All right, so Numbers, or we were at Romans 15 and 8, right? And now I say Yahushua Mashiach was a minister of the circumcision for the truth of Elohim, because Elohim cannot lie. And we just went through, he cannot lie, right? The truth of Elohim. He's not a man like us. And when he says something, it is good. He says in Isaiah, we read it the other day, I think it's Isaiah 45, he says, I declare things that are, remember we read that? I declare things that are, oh, well, we better go back. we better go back and get that. We got to have that one. Where is it? Isaiah 45 and let's see, 19. Yeah. Let's look at 18. 45, 18. For thus saith Yahuwah that created the heavens, Elohim himself that formed the earth and made it. He hath established it. He created it not in vain. He formed it to be inhabited. I am Yahuwah, and there is none else. I have not spoken in secret in a dark place of the earth. I said not unto the seed of Jacob, seek ye me in vain. I, Yahuwah, speak righteousness. I declare things that are what? Everything that comes out of his mouth is right. Everything. He said, I speak righteousness. I declare things that are right. And we read that in Numbers 23:19, where he says, when it sends it out of his voice, he says, I'm going to speak it. And when I speak it, it is so. It is so. You can't debate him. You can't argue him. You can't counsel Abba Yah. Well, Abba, I don't think you should have did it that way. You can't counsel Abba Yah. Yeah, because like Job talking about, Job said, you know, and Job was being self-righteous. He had to stand him up, and he told him to stand up like a man. He told him, come on, stand up like a man now. Take this like a man. Where was you when I created everything? I mean, so when I spoke it all into existence, everything was at my command. And I mean, so everything he speaks is right. Everything he speaks is right. So when he promised, and that's why Shaul says in Romans, the truth of Elohim to do what? Yahushua Mashiach, he did what? In Romans 15:8. What did Yahushua do? He confirmed the promises that was made unto the Father. Because what he's telling you is, when the Most High Yah spoke and made those promises, oh, they're right, they're just, they're good. He can't lie now. So Yahushua Mashiach, if you believe in him, and I know the world calls him Jesus Christ. We got some people here. I know the world calls him Jesus Christ. If you believe in Yahushua Mashiach, you believe in the promises that he made to Abraham. You believe in those promises. If you believe in Yahushua Mashiach, you cannot believe in Yahushua Mashiach and then not believe in what Abba Yah said to the fathers. Because what people get this, you know what people, you know, when you get from the Romans, because I mean I see it plainly, but those in the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th century, they decided to philosophize this book and to give us a religion. And you know what they call themselves? They call themselves the fathers. That's what they call themselves. They call themselves the fathers. Post-apostolic fathers, right? I mean, we was going through a list of them. They're the ones that formed the Christian doctrine that the world believes in now. Now, let me ask you, the Catholic fathers, and they took that doctrine through the Roman Empire, they took that doctrine where? Where did they take that doctrine? When they formed that doctrine of Christianity, where did they take it? They took it to the world. They took it to the world. So would you say that it is a world religion? It's a world religion. Believe it or not, it's a world religion, and it is rooted in philosophers from Rome. It's rooted in philosophers from Rome. So when he says to confirm the promises made unto the fathers, he's not talking about Constantine. He's not talking about Justin Martyr, Polycarp, Augustine. He's not talking about them. He's not talking about Eusebius. Changed his name to Jerome. Not talking about him. Not talking about none of them. When it says to confirm the promises made unto the fathers, you have to go back to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. So if you believe, because a lot of people say, I believe in Jesus Christ. I believe in Yahushua Mashiach. Well, if you believe in him, you have to believe in the promises made unto the fathers. I have. So what were, and there was a number of promises. There was a number of promises, but in Deuteronomy 28 and verse number 1, there's a list of things that he said that he was going to do. a list of things. And I want to say this, and he's given unto each one of us the ability to receive some of those promises. Yeah. He's given us the ability. And it shall come to pass, if thou shalt hearken diligently unto the voice of Yahuwah thy Elohim, to observe and to do all his commandments which I command thee this day, that Yahuwah thy Elohim will set thee on high above what? Oh, so there is going to be other nations, but Yasharah is supposed to be above all other nations. And I know people have a problem with that. People have a problem with that. Let's be realistic. Let's be true. Don't come to the house and lie in the house in front of Abba. Oh, no. People have a problem with that. Are we people? We're people, right? Which means we probably have a problem with it too. We have a problem with it. I mean, if you're honest, you have a problem with it. If you're just with all honesty in your ruach, and we should be honest. And you have to understand. I mean, some things that I'm learning, I'm not learning through the Roman religion, because the Roman religion would teach me to have a problem with that. The Roman religion will. Oh, don't think of yourself any better than nobody. You ain't nobody. Is that what the book tells us? I mean, let's look at it again, because I don't think we read it. That Yahuwah thy Elohim will set thee on high above all nations of the earth. That's what it says in my Bible. Now, you might have a different Bible, but that's what it says in my Bible. Because let me show you something. In Deuteronomy chapter 8, and let's see. It's in Deuteronomy chapter 8. I want to find this again, because I read it, and some of you might have read it before. What? Some of you might have read this before. I see it in verse 17, but there was another one I was looking for. Okay, there's another one. Let's just read. I'm going to start with verse. It's in 17, but I thought there was another verse. I'm trying to go through this real quick. Forgive me for taking this much time. But
it's important. Take your time.
Thank you. But somebody have to, while I go on and keep reading, somebody look at, because he talks about, I thought I read it in the 8th chapter. He talks about his covenant with Abraham, but the covenant with Abraham cannot be fulfilled okay, let's read verse. I'm going to read verse 17. And thou shalt say in thy heart, my power and the might of my hand hath gotten me this wealth. Okay, there it is. I should just keep reading. But verse number 18, but thou shalt remember, and this is the verse I was looking for. I said 17. It was verse 18, actually. But thou shalt remember Yahuwah thy Elohim, for it is he that giveth thee what? He gave who power? He gave them power to get what? Now listen to this. Listen to this. Why did he give them power to get wealth? He answers it right here. That he may establish his covenant which he sware unto thy fathers as it is this day. So he gave Yasharal power to get wealth. Now I know some people, they have a problem with that. And as soon as you say that, the first thing that I usually hear is, yeah, but the poor you're going to have with you always. As if that is weighed in the balance to justify what we just read. I mean, it's almost like they want to put a counterbalance. As soon as we start to look at some of the promises of Elohim, then, which is one of these here, then, well, you're going to be poor. You're going to be poor. Yeah. No, wait a minute. He says, I don't want you to forget that I've given you power to get wealth. And the reason why I gave you that power to get wealth is because of the covenant. I have to be true to my covenants. See, when Abba Yah makes a covenant, when he makes promises, he's going to be good on his part. Oh, he's going to be good. You don't have to worry if he's promised me something. He promised me eternal life. If I don't get eternal life, it's not Abba Yah's fault. That's got to be my fault. He already lives in eternity. I mean, you can't take nothing from him. That's why Yahusha said, when it says he thought it not robbery to be what? Equal with Elohim, because he didn't take nothing from him. You can't take nothing from Abba Yah. You can't take eternity from him. You can't take wealth from him. But he did promise that in order to establish the covenant. So if I'm not living in this ruach and in this power and this authority, and he's not blessing me and increasing me, then we need to, and I don't want to, because people can take the gospel of Yahushua Mashiach or the gospel of Jesus Christ, right? And they make it a Wall Street gospel. And that's not what I'm doing. I'm not, they're preaching wealth and prosperity. Name it and claim it. And I'm not doing that. I want us to read Torah and understand Torah. Because a lot of us have a problem when he says, I'm going to place you above all other nations. You're going to be the top nation out of all nations. Some people have a problem with that. I mean, if you're on, and it's not so much our fault because it's been beaten into us. A lot of our rich culture and heritage has been stolen. Oh, man. Wow. Something just hit me. I don't know if I want to go there just yet. Maybe I should because of Ruach, but I don't know. Our mindset is not in Torah like this. It's not our mindset. Because when you can get beaten down so much to where you have no self-worth, you don't believe in yourself. I can't do nothing. we have in Yasharal, there is, I want to say talents, but what he says, I've given you power. Now, how do you define that power? What kind of power is he talking about here? And I hope I've got us to this place, because if you believe in Yahushua Mashiach, you have to believe in this. Now, why would I say that? Why would I say, because I've already said, but why, I just want to go over something. Why would I say if you believe in Yahushua Mashiach, you have to believe in this? Why would I say that? Because I already said it before. If you believe in Yahushua Mashiach, why would you believe this? Why must I believe this? I have to believe this. But why? Because he confirmed it. Yahushua Mashiach confirmed this. He confirmed it. He said the promises that were made unto our father, you have to go all the way back to when he chose Abraham. And in Isaiah, the 42nd chapter, Isaiah 42nd, and I think it's verse number 11. And you have to look at when Yahuwah Elohim and Abraham, what did he say he was? Did I call the right one? Isaiah 42 and 8? Or look, 42 and 11? Or 42 and 8? What does it say?
I am Yahuwah, that is my name, and my glory will I not give to another, neither my praise to graven images.
Okay. That's what verse was that? 8? Okay. Okay, I'm sorry. It's 41 and 8. Isaiah 41 and 8. I'm sorry. All right, thank you, Deacon. Isaiah 41 and 8. And what does he say? But thou, Yasharal, are my servant, Jacob, whom I have what? The seed of Abraham. And who was he? Abraham's my friend. Abraham's my friend. Can you imagine that being spoken of in such honor and glory as that? Abraham's my friend now. I've made covenants with Abraham. He's my friend. I made covenants with him. All the way back from Genesis 12. Genesis 15, Genesis 17, Genesis 18. He's made covenants with him. And he says, that's my friend. So when he spoke to him and Deuteronomy 8 and 18, let's go back to that. So when he says, but thou shalt remember Yahuwah thy Elohim, for it is he that giveth thee power to get wealth. The reason why he's given you power to get wealth is that he may establish the covenant which he had already made. What are you saying? Abba Yah said, I got to be true to my covenant. So if I told Abraham that his seed was going to cover the whole earth, oh, he's going to put power in his seed to cover the whole earth. He has to establish that covenant. He has to, when he gives it unto, now some people understand the system and know how to get wealth through the system that we have set up. They understand it. And he's given the power could be in your understanding of it. I understand how money works. I just understand how it works. There ain't nothing wrong with that. The only thing wrong with it is if you love money over your soul. Because he says the love of money is what? The root of all evil. So you can't get in love. Oh, man. I'm not going to have enough time to explain this because it's going to take too long. It's already 1:45. But if you get in love with the currency and not what the currency can get you, your focus is on the wrong thing. Do you guys understand wealth? Okay, so when we look at some of these people's portfolio, just pick out anybody. Just pick out some names. Bill Gates, look at his portfolio. How much is he worth? Just look at his worth. Look at his worth. And then you look at Warren Buffett. That's what I was getting ready to say, Warren Buffett. And you start to collect all of these men. The guy who owns Tesla and Elon Musk, and look what he has. And then Bezos and Amazon and that young guy over Facebook. But anyway, then you start to look at some of the athletes and entertainers, and you start to see, they said Jay-Z's worth what? $1 billion, and Beyonce and the. Okay, so you have, and we just named a few people, but if you put all of their wealth together, do you know there's not that much money in the banks? Those people can't go to the banks and says, I'm worth $1 billion. Give me my $1 billion in cash. They ain't got no $1 billion in cash. It's not there. They only insure you up to what? 250,000? You can imagine Warren Buffett's got millions. That's why they don't keep money in the bank, because there's only so much currency. Don't fall in love with the currency. You got to look at what you're worth. You got to look at what you're worth. You got to look at, he's put it in us to acquire land. I want to take a day or so and just kind of work on this thing, because when he just keeps dropping on me. He's given it unto us to acquire land. We get stuck a lot of times because we feel bad if we have a lot of money. Now, people who have money don't feel bad. They don't feel bad. They say, I don't know what's wrong with y'all. But if we're not careful, the people, we don't understand the Torah right to where we could explain. It's not the wealth of land. You're so caught up in just shekels. You want to have a bag full of shekels, and you love shekels so much. You can't be wealthy if all you want is currency. If all you want is dollars, talk to these people that's got wealth, acquired wealth. They don't have a lot of money, cash money. They might carry a little currency around, but that ain't it. They're into acquiring wealth. They're into acquiring, and he's given us that power. If he didn't give it to us, that he could not keep that covenant that he made with Abraham. And he confirmed, just in case, y'all, we've been going on for a couple thousand years, and I was just thinking about that the other day. This is the year 2023, according to Greco-Romans, according to the Pope and the Roman Catholic Church. It was the Roman Catholic Church that reset everything. We're going to, before Christ, after Christ, AD, which is not, doesn't mean after death, but they're the ones that reset this. We ain't in no year 2023. I mean, come on, everybody, just with a little bit of knowledge, just a little bit of knowledge, knows it's been a long time. This earth's been around for a long time. At least the Khazar Jews go by 5,784 or something like that. That's what they got it. Yeah, it's somewhere around there. That's what they. Yeah, 5,784. I seen that number when I was doing some research. But so they've got it at that number. Some people say I mean, we let people. What are you trying to say? We let people play with our minds. And we allow them to dictate to us. We allow them to dictate to us this. You've given me power. Didn't he say, Shekels. Now, Solomon said this, shekels or money answereth. That's in our book. That's in our book, right? So if you need, can you pay your rent on your faith? Oh no, they gonna put you out. Yeah, they'll tell you can have all the faith you want. Just give me my shekels at the beginning of the month. I ain't gonna come between you and your faith. Just give me my shekels. First day of the month, day one of the month, I want my shekels. I want my money. Because money answers things. Now, I seen this today because a lot of people are going into these stores and they ain't going with money. They going in there, and like it says in Isaiah 55, come and buy with what? No money. That's what it says in Isaiah 55. So them folks is going to big box stores, everything. They come and buying with no money. They just walking out of the stores. No, they just grabbing it. Yeah. They just grab and go. There used to be one of those fast chain gas stations, quick shops. What was it called? Get and go. That's what they doing. They grab it and go. They grab it and go. Come and buy with no money. Because we know that if we're hungry, we're looking for Abba Yah to supply the need. But we have to understand now shekels are going to answer things for us. It's going to answer things for us. So he has to give us that understanding. See, that power could be your understanding. You have to understand this system if you want to be wealthy. You have to understand the system. You have to understand how money works. That's a part of the covenant that he made with Abraham. So if he's true to that covenant, that means, why are we walking around like we walking around? And I'm saying that rhetorically because we've got some here that Abba has blessed, Yahusha has blessed, and we've done well with it. We've been responsible because it's required of stewards to what? Be faithful. It's required of stewards to be found faithful. So he gives us, and we was reading, he gives us, we read it in Matthew 13. He was saying that to those who he gives more to. Did we read that? Or I'm going to go back and, yeah. So Matthew 13 and 12. Matthew 13 and 12. For whosoever have, to him shall be given, and he shall have what? More abundance. Oh, doesn't it sound like that talent, that parable of the talent? The one who had 5, and he gained 5 more, and the one who hid it, did he give it to the one that had 2 and gained 2? He gave it to the one that had 5 and gained 5. Because to whom it shall be given, he shall have more abundance. But whosoever hath not, from him shall be taken away, even that he hath. So what is that telling us? There's some in Yasharal that has been given power to increase their wealth, but then there's some who want to bury their talent. There's some who don't want to do anything. There's some who just want to be ignorant. I'll beg for bread. I just want to make it in. Not if he's giving me power to get more. I want to do more than beg for bread. I don't care. I'll be hungry. I'll be poor. I just want to make it in. That's not what he promised us. That's not what he promised us. In Abraham, he says, in order for me to establish that covenant with Abraham, I have to give you some power. Because I'm going to be true to my word. So that power could be your knowledge, your intellect, your understanding. Your understanding. And wealth is not shekels or money that you have in the bank. He's giving you power and wealth to own and to own land, to own things. Look at what these people have that are wealthy. It's not the money that they have in the bank because there's not that much money in the bank. The names that we rattled off, they can't go to the bank and get $1 billion out. There's not $1 billion in the bank. It's not there. So we can't get caught up in the shekel and miss the wealth of owning. I own this. I own that. In fact, who does all of this belong to in the first place? It belongs to Abba Yah, the Most High. He says, I own all this. It's all mine. Silver and gold is mine. The whole earth, all of it is mine. But I'm giving you power, and the power is not in a handgun to stick folks up. I'm going to rob you. That's extortion. And he tells us in 1 Corinthians, the 6th chapter, he says extortioners are not getting in. Extortioners are those who take it by force. I'm sticking you up. I'm robbing you because he's giving me power to get your wealth. No, that's not what it means. No, that's not. You don't have no wealth. We have wealth. Even in my understanding of how money works, I can use that understanding to own and to get things because of my understanding. He's given me power to understand that. Oh, I know. Oh, this is how they do it. Y'all heard of the rule of 72? I mean, some of us have. And so we understand how money can double and how we can shrink the time on how our money can double. Because if you put money in the bank and you're expecting your money to double in a savings account, oh, you better, might as well will it to your great-grandkids. Put some money in the bank and then will it to your great-grandkids, because that's about how long it's going to take for that money to double at what? 0.1% interest? I mean, so he's given us power. So I want to get back to, well, I'm about out of time. But I wanted to get back to Deuteronomy, because all of this in Deuteronomy chapter 28, as we go down to 14, all of these promises that he promised them and those blessings, he is going to do it. So you need to read that. He says in verse 1, and it shall come to pass, if thou shalt hearken diligently unto the voice of Yahuwah thy Elohim, to observe and to do all his commandments, which I command thee this day, that Yahuwah thy Elohim will set thee on high above all nations of the earth. And all these blessings which shall come on thee and overtake thee, if thou shalt hearken unto the voice of Yahuwah thy Elohim. Blessed shalt thou be in the city, and blessed shalt thou be in the field. So these are things that we should understand and be able to move in that knowledge and that wisdom. Because the power that he gives us is not robbing banks. That's not it. When he's talking about power, I'm going to give you wisdom and knowledge and understanding. And we could talk about the wisdom and knowledge and understanding, especially in Proverbs chapter 3, Proverbs chapter 8. We can talk about that and see how important it is to have wisdom and knowledge and understanding. And what exactly is that? Because that is power. He said, he makes a comparison of knowledge and understanding is more valuable than rubies. And we get into some of these minerals and things like that. And having that understanding and the knowledge and the wisdom is more valuable than that, because I can understand how to do it now. I understand how to do it now. And not by force and not through extortion. I'm not going to do it through extortion, but by understanding. I wanted to go over, because lately I've been trying to go over some of the promises that he is holding true to Abraham. And that's why Yahusha came. So if you believe in Yahusha, then you have to believe in all of these promises. You have to. Because if you don't believe in all the promises, then you don't believe in Yahusha. Or if you believe in Yahusha, but you don't believe in the promises, well, then you're not complete. We have to be complete. And then if you say none of those promises have any, I'm not trying to get anything, I'm not trying to be anybody, I'm not trying to get anything, then you have your question? You have a question? Then we don't understand the knowledge. We don't have the knowledge and the wisdom to understand. All right. I'm almost done. All right, I'm almost done. So.
I have, David had that one when they were doing it.
Okay. All right.
When we were down up for the service.
Okay. I'm almost done here. Just let me finish up here, okay?
Okay.
All right. So I want us to understand that the promises that has been given to Abraham are still in effect today. They're still in effect today, and he will be true to his covenants. And I know he's going to be true to his covenants because his only begotten son, Yahushua Mashiach, has came. All right. All right. So that's okay. That's all right, Deacon. That's all right. So with that, we're going to bring this to a close. And we hope that you gain something from this. We're going to continue to study and keep in mind all of the promises that the Most High Yah made and confirmed it through his Son. Because it's time that we awake out of sleep. We got to understand what's going on now. We got to understand how this thing is going to finish up. We want to talk about some things of how this is going to. We got to look at Teruah, which is the Feast of Trumpets. Yeah. Teruah is coming up, and so that's going to be the 16th of September. We're gonna. Okay, all right, thank you. So Teruah is coming up. We'll be here on the Shabbat, this Shabbat, and then next week, a week from this coming Shabbat is Teruah. No, Teruah is on the 16th. Atonement is on the 25th, which is a Monday. No, the 16th is Saturday, because I pulled that up. The 16th is right there. See that?